Yeah, what's going on? What's up? What's up? Welcome to this fine afternoon edition of BS with Hannas. That's me. I'm Nikki Hannas. I gotta check this audio. This is my third attempt going this. Endless fucking technical problems. Let's find out. Do I have it? Do I have volume? No, this. So now it's not working. You fucking piece of shit. God damn it. I bet you it's working now too. I bet you my sound is working when I can't get the audio check. That's probably what I get for not having much of a professional setup or anything even remotely replicating professionality. Let's find out. Do I have audio? Of course. Yeah.
Let's find out. Do I have audio?
Yeah, I got the fucking audio. Yeah, I got it. Cool. Anyway, welcome. Took me a whole minute just to make sure my shit's straight. Welcome to the BS with Hannas podcast / YouTube channel. That's me. I'm Nikki Hannas, bullshitting with Hannas because I'm just out here fucking talking on the internet in terms of a project looking to, I guess, looking to mend the existential void in my life. I need projects to do. I need things to do. Today is the fine afternoon edition on this 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to everybody. As you can see behind me, I like to think that I'm a patriot. I like to think that I'm an American patriot. But patriotism and freedom and liberty and slavery and tyranny and all these things are fucking huge, complicated, heady, detailed subjects. One that most people love to opine about, myself included, and one that very few people are actually literate in, let alone proficient in. They're not just simple, I want to be free. You're oppressing me. None of this shit is that simple. And since today is the 4th of July, that's kind of what's on my mind about it. That's what I'm thinking about today. Now, I haven't been on here in about the past week or so. These technical difficulties I got, man, they fucking get in my head. They get in my head. They piss me off. And it's fucking demoralizing is what it is. And I'm going to get into the subject of demoralization today. I feel like I have this is not going to be one of my morning shows. The typical format of this is that, good morning. It's usually good morning with Hannas. That's me, Nikki Hannas. By the way, I make music. You heard some in the beginning. That was my song Crawling Out of Hell, which I think we're all doing. You can find my music at nikkibhannas.bandcamp.com, nikkibhannas.com, or Nikki Hannas on all streaming services. This podcast you can find on YouTube, going live on YouTube, thus the ceaseless technical difficulties. But that's okay. At BS with Hannas. BS with Hannas on Spotify podcast, Apple podcast, Amazon Audible, all that stuff. The basic premise of this show usually is that I like to wake up, take a nice walk. I come in this little room, do my morning readings. I try and read something positive every day. Good mental diet, and then I'll fucking talk to the people. I'll go lift some weights and go to work. Now, today is the 4th of July, which is a federal holiday, if nothing else. It's a special day. It's an especially special day to me today. So I didn't do that in this order today. Today I woke up and did a little bit of reading. Went to the gym first. Went to an AA meeting after the fact. Today is my 2-year anniversary being off the booze, being off the drinking, being off the weed. You know what I mean? Did I fucking lose audio again? Bruh. I'm like, I got to stop. See, I want to just not look at my fucking screen so I don't get distracted by it. But now I'm seeing the microphone thing. I can't be losing audio, dude. If I lose audio when I get my Steam going, I'm going to... All right, cool. Yeah, we good. So anyway, yeah, I fucking woke up. I woke up and went to the gym and got a good fucking back workout in. I went to a meeting to celebrate my 2nd year off the bottle. I quit drinking 2 years ago. I had my last beer with my man, EMP. Shout out, EMP. You're the fucking man and I love you. And I told my dude, you ain't never going to see me all fucking drunk again. That was the last beer I've had. So today is 2 years since that, in the spirit of independence, in the spirit of breaking chains of oppression, in the spirit of actualizing autonomy and liberty and freedom and so on and so forth. I had to put some emotional levity into my decision to quit drinking. So it was very hard. There were many times before I actually quit that I was going to quit. That's a common story you'll hear. I was going to quit and I got to slow down. I got to start taking it easy. Never quite worked for me until all these things kind of came together. And to use my man Dreamer, he makes fun of me a lot, but that's my boy. He said, I have a proclivity to romanticize things. That's true. I am a sensitive dude. It is what it is. I like to think it's the artist in me. But yeah, I made the 4th of July my sober date. So congratulations to me. So I went to a meeting after the gym just to fucking enjoy that space. And then after that, I went and took a nice long walk with the weighted jacket on. I think I got some sunburn on my neck. So you could call me a dumb redneck and cancel any of my opinions out. I'm fine with that. That don't matter to me. Yeah, I did that, and here I am. I ain't been on the past week or so. I just been it per my personal life, been dealing with a bunch of bullshit and been disproportionately stressed the fuck out. And when I get disproportionately stressed the fuck out, I kind of have a tendency to tune the fuck out. And this BS with Hannas podcast, for example, right now I'm doing it to an audience of nobody. But to me, that's the hump of a new endeavor you just have to get over. The very first fucking show or gig that I ever played on stage in a band wasn't a packed room either. But that doesn't mean you quit the band. That doesn't mean you put the instrument down. It means you keep going. This is stuff in the rational mind that we all know, we all agree with, and all the successful people of the world say to just keep going no matter what the obstacle is. Just keep going, keep grinding, keep fucking hammering. And I like that until it's hard to do. And that's a fucking shortcoming on my end that I'm constantly waging war against. It's no different than going to the gym when you don't feel like it. Now, I've been going to the gym for a lot longer than I've been trying to launch a podcast or a talk show or a YouTube channel or be an influencer or whatever. This is all still fucking very new to me. So the learning curve of it is to do it when I don't feel like doing it. Now, when I get triggered on some personal bullshit, it fucks my whole countenance up. I get angry. I get like real down on myself. I get like real fucking agitated at myself. And I start to look at myself and I'm displeased and unhappy, to be frank. And then not only am I looking inward negatively, now I'm looking outward negatively because there's a very real circuitry battery, almost a relationship between your internal world and how you perceive the external world. When all that shit is bleak and agitated and negative, I don't really want to put my fucking face on camera and talk about it. I don't want to listen back to it later. I don't really want to have it out there for the world to listen back on it later. Yeah, maybe it's real. Maybe it's raw. It's also embarrassing. It's also corny. It's also lame. It's a million different things. So I've just past week or so, lots of good, lots of bad. In the day-to-day, I've been kind of fatigued and worn down by miscellaneous things. So that explains the absence. But today is the 4th of July, and it's a fucking good day for me. And I have a renewed spirit, so to speak, right now. You know what I mean? My birthday was last week, too. So that was good. So all things considered, things are fucking good. I'm still getting up and walking and working out and reading. Just haven't been talking as much. So here's me rectifying that. If you're a listener, if you're a listener right now and you made it through 8 minutes of me emoting at you, I appreciate that. That means you're a real one and you are the motherfuckers that I want to listen to me anyway, not just some jerk off with a 10-second attention span, but that's all good. So anyway, in my notes today, suffice to say, it's the 4th of July. It's American holiday. All types of things are going on, and there's no shortage of people talking about America, the state of society, the state of the world. And did you hear what the Orange Man did? Did you hear what this guy did? Rah. In the past few weeks, I have kind of taken a turn politically where I used to be a really strong Trump enthusiast. I would never say I was in the MAGA cult, but I voted for Trump in 2020. I do, think that was a shady at best election. I voted for Trump this past year in 2024. So that doesn't mean that I believe in the system necessarily, but it means that I believed in the Orange Man for a little while. And at this point, he's looking more. This is an aside. I'm not going to go into a whole diatribe about fucking the Trumpinator, but, it's looking to me like he's very likely the one who sells this whole fucking ship out. But that's just my opinion, man. What do I know? I don't know nothing. I'm a dude who's got 2 years sober, who's running a burger joint, talking his mouth online. I fucking play guitar and make music. So take all that as you want. But that doesn't mean I don't fucking love my country. And that doesn't mean, I went to college to be an English teacher. I went to a liberal arts university. I got a liberal arts degree in the field of, the liberal arts. So I read all the time. Like, I'm into this shit. I like philosophy. I like history. I like political science. I like high level discourse. And once upon a time, I truly believed that all political discussions were inherently a high level discourse. Now, as the Orange Man crashed into the mainstream like a bull through a china shop, what was once at least how I perceived it to be a high level discussion, where we could be talking about sports ball, right? We got sports ball. Or we could be talking about policy and da 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 da. Now I'm realizing it's all kind of the same fucking thing. And a lot of the political shit is really just sports for people who think they're smarter than someone else, myself included. So strike against me, and I'll, I mean, it is what it is, you know. But that doesn't mean I'm not interested in it all the fucking same. So 4th of July is, what's the holiday of 4th of July? The signing of the Declaration of Independence, where the founders told King George to go fuck himself unceremoniously, and if you want war, let there be war. Yeah, that's what the holiday's about. And that's a great, I mean, there's a lot of incredible valor and incredible virtue and high-minded, just like of all in history, there's certain peaks of society and peaks of human achievement and peaks of these things. And I believe that the founding of America, though complicated and nuanced and not entirely uh, benevolent, is one of those things. Now, to discuss that accurately, in my view, and I'm not even the most well equipped to discuss it, we all better be ready to talk about Locke. We all better be ready to talk about Hobbes. We all better know our shit to talk about this if we want to talk about war and revolution and the state of nature and the state of, the spirit of humanity and the human condition. That all culminates in these massive historical events. And as an American, it's my purview to be concerned about my heritage, I suppose, my lineage, the inheritance of my birthing, whether being a citizen is a good thing or not, because there's legal jurisdictions there. I am a citizen of the United States of America. So I'm a fucking American. My parents didn't come here from another country. And that's fine if y'all's did, but mine didn't. Neither did my grandparents. And as far as I understand, neither did their parents or grandparents. So I'm not just, we're all immigrants. I didn't immigrate fucking nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not going to say this is my country, you need to get out. I'm not really with that shit per se either. But we live in a world of laws and legalities and principalities and everything that goes into that. Now, I say all of that to say that it's a complicated fucking subject. But the basic premise of it is this was our day of independence, declaring our independence from the tyrannical king. And my first thought in there is, I love when Patrick Henry says, give me liberty or give me death for my part. Now, motherfuckers say that, and they ain't really about that. And there's a million steps between when Patrick Henry said that shit and when George Washington was rallying the troops and marching on the fucking Imperial Navy of Great Britain, the British Empire back at the time. We're a million steps away from that. So none of us really know or can empathize. It's all heroes' stories to me. It's borderline mythology. And once you look into enough stuff, and you kind of question the authenticity of every bit of history we've been told or taught or consumed or read or things that we think we know, who knows? Who knows? I know what I know. I was going to end with this today, but there is a great Patrick Henry quote in my notes for today's show. What did Patrick Henry say? I love this. I absolutely love this. Patrick Henry said, I have one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. So there's my ethos. Now, as we think about freedom today and liberty and celebrating it or condemning it, there's a lot of scorn out there for the 4th of July, too. There's a lot of scorn and people that fucking hate this country, Americans who hate America. That's not a new phenomenon, though. So that's always existed. I'm not one of them. I want to love my country. I want to participate in its idealism. I want to participate in its productivity and its prosperity and its achievement and its sense of excellence. So that's my position on the whole thing. And it's taken me, I just turned 33. So it's taken me 33 years to have the understanding of that I have now, which is not a masterful one. It is not a doctoral thesis, dissertation giving one. It is just, if you're listening to this, you either know me, so I don't got to explain myself, or you don't. I'm a fucking guitar player who just got sober a couple years ago that I'm trying to make something of myself. This is a documentation of my personal development as it is. Anyway, so 4th of July, freedom. One idea that I encountered a long time ago that I think is a very captivating and interesting one is the idea of positive and negative liberty. I think I first heard this term from listening to Mark Levin on Sirius XM Patriot Channel. Now, the real cool. All right, so on positive and negative liberty, where's my? I just want to make sure I got my fucking audio before I keep going because the audio problem is it's a bad one. It's just neither here nor there. Let me just check really quick. Neither here nor there. Cool. All right, cool. So I'm still live. Thank y'all. So positive and negative liberty, the way I understood it is either freedom to and freedom from. Positive meaning I have the freedom to do something, whereas negative is I have the freedom from something in terms of obstructions. So a quick Google search on that one. What is positive and negative liberty? Positive liberty is the ability to act on one's free will, as opposed to negative liberty, which is freedom from external restraint on one's actions. Positive liberty may also refer to freedom from internal constraints. The idea of freedom to is something that positive liberty is concerned about. Freedom to versus freedom from. The next auto thing on Google's AI search engine. What is the difference between positive and negative rights? The AI overview says positive rights require the government or others to act, providing something like healthcare or education. Negative rights, on the other hand, require inaction, like freedom from government interferences or the right to own property. Essentially, positive rights are entitlements to be given something, while negative rights are freedoms from interference. I found that the very first time I heard that described, I said, oh shit, that was like a light bulb clicking. That made a lot of sense to me. We have all the freedom to do a lot of things. It's very commonly said, and nowadays it's very commonly criticized, the idea that we're a free country. But when I hear most people talk about that, it almost entirely has to deal with freedom to do something. Well, aren't I free to go drink a 6-pack and drive my car? You are till you get caught. You have the freedom to do any motherfucking thing in this world that you want. But that freedom doesn't mean freedom from consequences and repercussions, as the right wing likes to say. The left wing likes to say it too. All these motherfuckers out here say it. So that's the positive. That's that idea. If I want to go make a building, that's doing something. Now, if I were to go make a building, say I own property. I'm not a property owning American, so whether I should even have the right to vote is up for debate. Not my opinion, just stating the way it is. There's a debate there. So if say I own property and say I wanted to build like this fucking badass, glorious man cave in there with air conditioning that I could work from home in, it doubles as a studio or a jam room, or me and my nerd friends can play Magic the Gathering or Halo for hours and hours. Say I owned a property and I wanted to build this out there. I have the freedom to do that up until the moment where something is now obstructing me. The freedom to and freedom from. There seems to be a mass correlation there that this is so fascinating to me, because when I look around and when I hear people talk, or when I engage in, I don't engage in comment sections, but I read and peruse comment sections. This part is oftentimes left out, depending on which echo chamber you're in, the left blue one or the right red one. You know what I mean? Like, it's all way different. If I owned property and wanted to build this badass fucking structure on my property that I fucking own, at what point is there resistance? Only insofar as resistance is granted. Say the township guy comes out and says, well, you have a few too many square footage of roof. You've got too many roof shingles and roof angles and square footage of roofs on your property. So we need to dig up your whole fucking lawn and re-navigate a drainage system in accordance with this code, in accordance with this law, as approved by this judge, as approved by this governing body, and you got no choice. So now we're encountering resistance. How free are we? How fucking free are we? That's one of the great existential fucking questions that I think all Americans should wrestle with. And it's a complicated one, so it's hard to wrestle with. It's hard to wrestle with. Trust and believe, as much as I just want to fucking listen to Kid Rock all day, you know what I mean? And go and drink a bunch of fucking beer and set off fireworks and shoot my guns into the motherfucking sky. It ain't quite that simple. None of this stuff is that simple. That's an interesting thing to me that I felt compelled to talk about today. So here we are on Independence Day. I personally am thinking about these things. Now, considering that, this is where the world is interesting to me. So, in the world of influencers and social media celebrities and people with big names and bigger microphones and so on and so forth, I am not even in the discussion yet. And if I was, very low on the totem pole. Given my political inclinations, there's a degree of thought crime and thought criminality and wrong think that goes around. So we may or may not be familiar with the individual who goes by the Instagram handle Ian Smith Fitness. And his 4th of July post I really liked this morning. I like a lot of what Ian says, not everything. That's a given, you know. No one fucking agrees with everybody on everything. That's a dumb fucking way of thought conditioning, which I'll get into anyway, but neither here nor there. So Ian Smith came out on Instagram and said, "Happy Independence Day to every real American who understands one thing. Patriots love their country, but they do not blindly love their government. Our founding fathers were not polite, obedient men bowing to corrupt kings and cowardly politicians. They were extremists by every definition of the word, rebels, insurgents, traitors to tyrants, men who risked everything, comfort, family, fortune, life itself, to break free and hand us a shot at freedom." It's true. True indeed. If they were alive today, they'd be on every watch list. They'd be labeled dangerous. They'd be mocked by cowards too weak to stand for anything. I hope you all celebrate this beautiful country of ours today, but when you do, remember one thing. This country doesn't need more loyal subjects. It needs more men with the backbone to defy what's wrong and to defend what's rightfully ours. Freedom is not handed down gently. It is taken, protected, and fought for by men who refuse to kneel. The same blood that dumped tea in harbors and fired shots at tyrants still runs in our veins, if we have the guts to remember it. Enjoy your fireworks, fly your flag, but don't ever forget, independence was never comfortable, freedom was never free, and this country will not save itself. Be a patriot, be an extremist, be free. Happy 4th of July. Hey, you too, Ian. Yes, sir. And that's a dude who fucking, whatever you think about him, 5 years ago when the fucking global death, we're all going to die. When that shit was going around about 5 years ago, 2020, 2021, my man, Mr. Ian Smith Fitness, he walked the talk. I'm pretty sure he was just shy of going to war. Fucking the governor of New Jersey was after him like a motherfucker. And, you know, we saw a lot of compliance in the face of tyranny out straight up, you know, and there's conspiratorial or otherwise outside the box thinkings and angles we could apply to the whole 2020, 2021 coronavirus era for sure. You know, the biggest one to me is that, and this ties into what I'm talking about, because there ain't no one here, but the idea of consent, you know, if the fucking big bad, big brother government says, shut your fucking gym down, you're posing a threat to society, I deem you a criminal, and you say, nah, I don't listen to tyrants. Come do something. Yeah, that's walking the talk, because a lot of people be talking like that. A lot of people in America be talking about freedom. Freedom what? Freedom to do what? Be a fat slob? Shit, I work in the food business. They're not sending their best. We're not sending our best, guys. You know what I mean? And that irritates me, and it's a bad example. Yeah, but that's a whole nother thing too. You know, it's how, if you're gonna talk like that and be celebrating your freedom, I don't know. I like this, to me at least. I can't speak to other people, and I shouldn't speak to other people, and I should surely not speak ill of other people. It ain't my fucking business. But this stuff makes me think. It makes me think of my part. It makes me think of what I'm complicit in, or what I'm in compliance of, or what I'm participating in, or what I'm contributing to. And I think that level of introspection on a day like the 4th of July, I think that's an important one. I think it's a useful one, even if I don't have any fucking answers. You know, these things are complicated and thorough. You know, people spend their whole lives studying them. And I consider that an act of civic duty, let's just say, as an American man, to spend some time thoroughly studying and examining this stuff. So that was this morning on Instagram. And then as I'm walking today, I thought to myself, something back from when I was in college. There was a speech by motherfucking a bad man in history, a hard motherfucker, Frederick Douglass, who is famous mostly for his book, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an escaped slave. Frederick Douglass escaped slavery from the South and ended up rising to be one of Abraham Lincoln's close confidants. He was an important figure. If you don't know about Frederick Douglass, don't tell me you know history. That's all. He's a pretty fucking important guy, whatever you think about him. He was an escaped slave, and one of the things that I learned in college was, and this is stuff you should be studying in an American university, the opposition and seemingly mass contradiction in a nation extolling the virtues of freedom, independence, liberty, and self-sufficiency as they harbor slaves, as you facilitate a chattel slavery-based economic system. Now, just like anything I'm talking about, everyone's got an opinion on slavery, and that opens up American slavery, rather, because there's still plenty of current forms of slavery that exist, not just here, not just there, but motherfucking everywhere. I would go so far as to say there's a good argument that slavery is part of the human condition, and there's things that are way beyond governments of man and principalities of man that dictate this stuff. But that's a whole esoteric tangential spiral in the first place. But Frederick Douglass has a point when he asks, what to a slave is the 4th of July? What to a slave in 1852 is the celebration of the 4th of July. They're celebrating the 4th of July in 1852 after having signed the Declaration in 1776. You're only a few generations removed from the founding of the country. It's still an infant in the grand scheme of things. You know, I'm only 33, so to me, America's always been here. But if it's 52 and that's 76, you're under 100 years of sovereignty. Interesting. So then they bring Frederick Douglass to give a speech. I forget the exact context of it, but they bring him up to give a speech, and he's basically saying, fuck y'all. What do you mean? Why are you putting me up here to celebrate with you? And there's a couple things from that speech that I really enjoyed that I'm going to quote outright. So he starts it by saying, fellow citizens, I am not wanting in respect for the founders of this republic. Note that he says republic. That's important, but I digress. He says, fellow citizens, I am not wanting in respect for the fathers of this republic. The signers of the Declaration of Independence were brave men. They were great men, too, great enough to give frame to a great age. It does not often happen to a nation to raise, at one time, such a number of truly great men. The point from which I am compelled to view them is not, certainly, the most favorable, and yet I cannot contemplate their great deeds with less than admiration. They were statesmen, patriots, and heroes, and for the good they did and the principles they contended for, I will unite with you to honor their memory. Yeah, he's opening up by saying, and this is not I'm not apologizing for slavery, by the way, like just in case, because motherfuckers like to do that. But I note how important that is, that Frederick Douglass, an escaped slave from the South to the North, 10 years before the Civil War, is noting this contradiction, these opposing things that exist. He's not immature enough to condemn the men and the acts and the fucking nuanced history of it in favor of his opinion. And I really like what he said right here. I think this is a very insightful, wise, intelligent take that we would all do well to listen to. He says, where exactly is it? Yet I cannot contemplate their great deeds with less than admiration. That's not what I'm looking for, though. What did he say? They were great men, too. Here it is. Yep, found it. Sorry. They were great men, too. Great enough to give frame to a great age. To give frame to a great age. Yeah, I really like that. I believe the Declaration includes the words, in order to pursue, to achieve a more perfect union. Giving frames to great ages. That's the importance of all of this stuff that we celebrate casually over beers and Kid Rock and fireworks on the 4th of July. Now, Frederick Douglass, I mean, you guys should all go. Anyone who's listening, like I said, if you're interested in Americanism or American history, or if you're interested in the constant, unceasing discussions of the day in our modern zeitgeist, yeah, we would do well to study some Frederick Douglass, because impactful figure. he ends his, I'm not going to read the whole speech, of course, just what stuck out to me. This is going to be a long one. I'm at 30 minutes. Oh, shit. Frederick Douglass ends his speech. He says, "The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence, bequeathed by your fathers, is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight has brought light and healing to you, has brought death and stripes to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn." What to a slave is the 4th of July? That's important stuff. And if we're going to be celebrating the 4th of July as Americans, this isn't me being, just because I don't like Trump anymore. I don't like, there's a laundry list of reasons for that. But this isn't me just being a liberal. This isn't me just whining. And motherfuckers who think like that are the fucking problem. You know what I mean? They're fucking the problem. You're supporting the Federalists just because you're a Federalist. Or you're an anti-Federalist just because you have to be an anti-Federalist. How about we apply fucking real world thinking into these things? Because it's hard. I mean, when you've got people in America in 2025 lamenting this day, how are they going to willingly take off their hat, put their hand over their heart, and sing the Star Spangled Banner when they don't believe in the fucking thing? And really, if you study history, we ain't always been the fucking good guy. So there's moments of good and bad and horror and epic fucking achievement and heroism throughout history, as I understand it. I think we need to be real about what it is, and what we do with it is, where this whole this fucking episode of BS with Hannas is getting to. It's all my opinion, of course. Now, as I was listening to that, it made me think of another pretty popular, in certain spheres, a pretty popular YouTube video that's out there. An interview in the year 1984. Shocking coincidence. A 1984 interview with a KGB defector by the name of Yuri Bezmenov. Yuri Bezmenov talks about the Soviet era, communist, Leninist, Marxist ideological subversion insofar as how it affects America. And the part that a lot of people really talk about is his 3 stages to total infiltrate, 4 stages, I'm sorry. The 4 stages of total infiltration. And this whole video is out there on YouTube. Yuri Bezmenov interview. It's the first thing that'll come up. Really, really, really good, especially pertinent to this era of the world we find ourselves in. Now, before I get into my man, Mr. Yuri Bezmenov, let me check my audio. I apologize that I got to keep checking my audio, but I don't trust my hardware. I don't trust it. So we're going to test the audio one time. And I still got it. All right. So my man, Yuri Bezmenov, he likens it to 4 stages. The first of which is ideological subversion and demoralization. And I'll quote from him here, Mr. Yuri Bezmenov. He says, "Psychological warfare is the name of this particular game. The point of it is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process that takes 4 stages, the first of which is the demoralization." And I fucking love that. I fucking love that. Like, before I even get here on YouTube, I'm like, dude, why do I have anything to say? Have I achieved anything worth remarking? Am I this? Am I that? Am I well informed enough? Am I wrong? Yuri Bezmenov, the fucking great quote. "To change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions." He was right. He was fucking right. More right than any of us really want to admit, And he's a KGB defector. He ran away from the communist bullshit. And there's no shortage of that now. Again, in the common zeitgeist, most of the people who decry the 4th of July, most of the people, I shouldn't say most, that's not necessarily fair. That's not necessarily accurate either. But I'm willing, if I were to hazard a guess, the Venn diagram, the Venn diagram of people who fucking dislike America and vote a certain way and are really passionate about why they hate their own country, I'm willing to bet that they have a soft spot for communism, and they're the ones that just say it was never done correctly. And that's a whole, again, if we're going to talk about the big bad C word or socialism or basic human, whatever, we better come correct. And I've done a lot of that stuff, but, in thinking, at least, a lot of research, and it's hard. How can we tell? It's very difficult. Despite the abundance of information, we can't come to sensible conclusions about the interests of defending ourselves or our families or our communities or therefore our country, because that is the chain of effects. Ourselves, our families, our communities trickles upwards. The collective constitutes the whole. The whole is defined by the collective. And collectively, shit ain't looking so good, really, in this motherfucking 4th of July. But maybe that's up to ourselves. And then the cycle begins anew. Endlessly interesting to me. Yuri Bezmenov, another quote, listening to that interview today. He says, in the future, he said this in 1984, in the future, there will be no place for dissent in the future of the United States, and that most of the demoralization is done by Americans to Americans. This all checks out without much burden of proof. Turn on your fucking television. Go scroll on the internet for a minute. So that's the demoralization, and it's hard to not participate in it. It's hard. He was talking about how a lot of the hippies and burnouts from the 60s ended up in high positions of business or government or education, and that's how the system takes a couple generations to be there. And then the seeds are planted, they're germinated, they're fucking grown, they're tended to, and they propagate. That's the nature of it. That's the nature of it, man. Most of the demoralization is done by Americans to Americans, and that's a very sad, unfortunate fucking reality. If we're not building, we're destroying. And what's the fucking the famous Rush lyric? If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. I will choose free will. I think they ripped that from Ayn Rand, but neither here nor there. So according to my man Yuri Bezmenov, demoralization occurs, followed by destabilization. He says that it mostly pertains to the defense systems, the economy, and foreign relations, all of which are highly charged right now in 2025. The national defense, thus the immigration discussion and all the passions and emotions that entails. The economy, well, speaking from a 33-year-old millennial who doesn't own property despite working my balls off most of my fucking life. Well, hey, I drank most of my life away, so I should pump the brakes right there. Excuse me, and look at myself, but that's okay. Go ask an economist about the economy. Everyone's got an opinion on tariffs or foreign aid or USAID or a million things, but all of it, no matter what, it's only proven Yuri Bezmenov's fucking thesis correct. And destabilization also happens by foreign relations. Well. Go turn on the news and see how our foreign relations are doing. For better or worse, this is just phenomena that I'm observing. And, even locally, shit, go look at Philadelphia right now. Philadelphia's got like this big 4th of July Made in America. I think it's Made in America. I forget what they call it. Big 4th of July concert downtown and shit. So Philadelphia's got hundreds of thousands of people in the streets partying and celebrating, surely fireworks, shit tons of money coming in and out, horrible traffic, so on and so forth. Meanwhile, the city garbage collectors are on strike. So fucking literal streets and blocks in the city of Philadelphia, where the Declaration was signed, where Patrick Henry was giving these speeches, where John Adams was giving these speeches, where Alexander Hamilton was giving these fucking speeches, Ben Franklin and shit, the Liberty Bell, Rocky motherfucking Museum. Bruh, there's literal streets of fucking trash in the fucking cradle of this nation. So, Yuri Bezmenov, I don't know what could potentially be more demoralizing than not just the existence of fucking K&A, the heroin capital of the world, not just the horrible crime statistics, murder rates, poverty rates, etc., disproportionately affecting people of color. No fucking doubt about that. Don't get that twisted fucking ever. But now we have literal human shit trash for blocks. Meanwhile, 5 feet away, 5 city blocks away, you've got fucking concerts under the guise of celebrating the 4th of July. Frederick Douglass was motherfucking right. This is a big, bad contradiction that fucking, you can't ignore it. And if you do ignore it, you're being fucking dishonest. Yeah, I mean, it's fucking crazy out here. Is that demoralizing? I think so, because there's probably fucking syringes and drug fucking paraphernalia mixed in with all that fucking trash. rats and roaches and shit. It's fucking embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing. But, what do I know? I'm not a part of the union. The mayor should just pay them more. They're doing this all for a terrible hourly rate. They're entitled to more. Freedom to, freedom from. My brain says motherfuckers are not going to work because of their perceived slights and injustice. So now the whole city suffers. One of the biggest cities in our fucking country is suffering because motherfuckers don't go to work for whatever reason. This is the negative. This is like, yeah, MLK talked about the spiritual maladies that plague our country. And even if Mr. MLK himself was a fornicator and a arguable hypocrite, arguably a plant, blackmailed, extorted, communist sympathizing, these are all fucking real true things too. I err more towards my man Detroit Red Malcolm X than I do Mr. King. Neither here nor there. I'm just some dude on the internet with fucking opinions talking about America right now. Yeah, a spiritual sickness across our country. True indeed. True indeed. So thank you to Yuri Bezmenov for the insight, because it all just serves the demoralization fucking purpose, man. Anyway, after that comes the crisis. The crisis. Yuri Bezmenov says that after demoralization is complete and destabilization is achieved, now the forces that the powers that be implement a crisis. And he says that give it about 6 weeks, to the verge of crisis, and we have the fucking perfect storm and amalgamation of conditions for a takeover. And that turns itself into normalization, which he describes as a cynical expression used by the Soviets. Sounds like war is peace to me. A cynical expression. The land of the free. Look at the fucking trash on your street. It's crazy out here. But, what's the advice Yuri Bezmenov gives us? Educate yourself, because we're living in a state of war. And he says, I know Americans don't like to listen to things that are unpleasant. Apparently, they don't mind seeing them as long as we can. This is where it's fucking crazy interesting to me, too, man. Because, how much of this am I complying in? As I have an iPhone that I'm pulling notes from, as I wear decent clothes, as I'm on the internet right now, I'm fucking living content out here in the suburbs. So how much of me is being compliant with these forces they're way bigger than me? And I don't believe I'm participating in these systems, but, that's why motherfuckers say, hey, let me see your search history. How compliant are you? To what extent do you participate in? What did you eat yesterday? What did you do yesterday? What did you think yesterday? What are you scrolling on? What are you consuming? How about medications? You know what I mean? Where are you shopping? Where's your dollars going? It's fascinating. It's a huge, huge thing. The Leviathan that Hobbes talked about, to my understanding of Hobbes, that government is a Leviathan, but it's better than a state of nature. Because Yuri Bezmenov talks a lot in this about how people think we're in peacetime. This is in 1984, but it's applicable today. People think we're in peacetime, but we're in an active war right the fuck now. And what else did Hobbes say? That the state of man is a state of perpetual war, and that the natural position, the state of nature for mankind, is nasty, solitary, poor, brutish, and short. Thus, the necessity of the Leviathan that is governance. And motherfuckers been fighting wars about this for hundreds of years. It's fascinating to me. Whew. 43 minutes in, going off today. And, again, I'm going to tie this around to how I actually make sense of it all instead of just spitting shit out here. But, so that's my man, Yuri Bezmenov. To anyone listening to this, if you're not familiar with Frederick Douglass, you should familiarize yourself with Frederick Douglass. If you're not familiar with Yuri Bezmenov, you should familiarize yourself with Yuri Bezmenov. Now I'm going to go to Patrick Henry, because after listening to all of this on my fine walk celebrating my sobriety today, after doing some deadlifts this morning and reading some good stuff, made me think of Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me death. I'd mentioned him a little bit earlier. There were a couple lines. I listened to the whole speech and pulled it up and reread it just to jog my memory on it. I'm not as well-versed in the founding fathers and founding documents, but I love that shit. I got a whole bunch of books on it that I just don't have the time to read. I would love to live a life where I could be scholarly and just dedicate my life to parsing through history, through pages and texts. I would love that. That's the academic part of me. That's the intellectual best part, that part of me. The one that's not a cursing fucking pirate. But C'est la vie. Things to do, work to be done. When I was listening to his appeal, the speech that contains the famous line, "Give me liberty or give me death," there were two things that I have written down here that really make me, that pull the soul of the patriot in my mind. Patrick Henry says, "Gentlemen, this is no time for ceremony. The question before the House is one of awful moment to this country, nothing less than a question of freedom or slavery." And he favors talking about the truth instead of withholding his opinions over giving offense. Because people forget, there wasn't like the whole founding fathers. That wasn't like it was all, there was the Federalist and anti-Federalist debate even before they went to war against Great Britain, even before, all the shit really started in Boston. They were petitioning to the king for a long time. They wanted to be good adherents of their legacy. They were British subjects. They were loyal to the crown for a long fucking time, and they appealed and they appealed, and the king kept sending more and more punitive measures until they send the Royal Navy out here. Mr. Patrick Henry says, "Guys, what the fuck are we doing? What are we fucking doing here? Like, we can't go back now. Look at this. Look at this." He says, "It is natural to man to indulge in the illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against a painful truth." And the painful truth for them was that there was no going back at that point. There was tyranny being imposed upon them. The chains were clanging up in Boston, as he says. And he ends it with, this is how he ends it. "Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." And them motherfuckers meant it too. A lot of people out here talking a lot of shit and don't fucking mean it. That's all. I don't fashion myself a revolutionary. I don't fashion myself a martyr. I don't fashion myself any of those things. But I believe in my fucking country. I believe in the best parts of what I was told growing up. I believe in all that shit. Make something of yourself. I'm reading another book about Buddy Guy, who I saw in concert a couple weeks ago, a fucking Black American, by the way, who fucking changed the whole game of music. Didn't get no credit for nothing his whole life. He was doing what Jimi Hendrix was doing before Jimi Hendrix was fucking doing it. Jimi Hendrix was out smoking dope in Vietnam, which is all good. Hendrix fucking, hey, as a musician, Hendrix changed the fucking game. But Buddy Guy was doing it thankless, without pay, getting laughed at, getting motherfuckers talking shit, kicking him out of the place, doing it for a long time. And I seen that old man, 88 years old, shit. I seen him fucking rip a guitar a couple weeks ago, talking about how he grew up as the son of sharecroppers. He made something from nothing, made his first guitar out of a fucking piece of wood and a rubber band or something. No running water till he was fucking 14, 15 years old. That's America, bro. That's it. That's the fucking story right there. Even just pulling immediately from what I'm thinking about. The stuff that I like, the elements of culture that I like in life. Zakk Wylde, a fucking gas station attendant in New Jersey who wanted to make something out of himself playing fucking guitar, ends up playing for fucking Ozzy Osbourne. Get the fuck out of here, dude. That's what it's about. How about Eminem? The Eminem story. The fucking betrodden, beat up, bullied ass white kid in the hood picks up, indulges himself in his art and his craft, and becomes one of the biggest and baddest to ever fucking do it. Whatever you think, I'm not going to get into the top 5 of hip hop, and I like rap and hip hop a lot, but I'm not going to indulge in that. You can't deny the impact that Eminem had, whether it's skin color or not. Who the fuck knows? That story is fucking what it is. Coming from nothing and becoming something. That's what the fuck people believe in it about America, dude. And that begs the question I started with this, freedom to, and how that interfaces with freedom from. And these are hard fucking things. Man. Especially as we find ourselves in a world that is somewhere between 1984 and Brave New World. Because this is my telescreen right here, bull. Big Brother is watching. Always has been. But we also keep consuming the soma and making other people our things to behold. Behold the savages. Learn from them. We can mechanize and perfect everything, though. Give you just the right amount of soma so you do just the right thing that we need you to do. And here comes that fucking pyramid of power, man. Freedom, slavery, tyranny, and oppression. Fascinating. This is what I think about on 4th of July. You know what I mean? So that's my fucking that's my fucking higher level way of thinking. 50 minutes in. Shit, it's been a long time since I've done that long by myself. So maybe I was prepared. Maybe that's all long-winded rambling. Maybe that's all tangential thinking. Maybe I'm just spiraling. Let me know. If you're listening to this, you let me know what you think. If you made it this far, for one, thank you. For two, sincerely, thank you. This is a new project to me. I don't want to be just a wandering, demoralized fucking loser, distracting myself, getting drunk, smoking weed, doing coke, chasing thrills, doing bullshit. What kind of fucking example does that set to the next man? To the fucking children and shit, I didn't care about that when I was 20, 21, but man, I wonder how many people have seen me personally, myself, my face, my voice, doing some reprehensible ass nasty shit. Nah, man, that's not what it means to be a fucking American. That's not what it should mean to fucking be an American. Do our parts is what it should mean. Be a good example is what it should mean. Do better, strive, achieve, construct, build, create. Be worth something. Be worth something to your fucking self first, and then you can be something worth to the fucking world. Took me a long time to learn this shit. Arguably way too late, And in my personal life, it's like I'm playing catch up in a lot of ways. I'm catching up to what I should have been doing, to the duty that was imbued upon me just by my birthright, so to speak. And if everybody fucking thought like that, if everyone acted like that, I bet you there wouldn't be fucking city blocks full of trash in the fucking city of Philadelphia. It's crazy. Or maybe I'm just fucking crazy. I don't know. I'm just out here running my mouth. What do I know, man? Let me check my audio one time as I get to the home stretch. I'll do the full hour. Fuck it at this point, because there's still more I want to talk about. Full hour. Fuck it at this point. Cool. Yeah, so I'm still alive. Nice, man. The stars are aligning. My tech is working for me. My hardware is working for me. So anyway, yeah, what did I do on my birthday that pertains to this? My father and I went and saw the band Los Lonely Boys, some Chicanos, because I fucking love my Mexican people. I love my Mexican culture. These guys are Chicanos, Los Lonely Boys. That dude, Henry Garza, playing the guitar is he's like the closest thing to Stevie Ray Vaughan that exists right now. They kicked ass. And those dudes are cool because their whole thing is we're blessed to be here. We're happy to be here. This is for God and our family and our friends, and we want to give this gift of music to you guys. They're not up there getting high. They're not up there chasing pussy. They're up there for no other reason than living their talent, living their thing that they were gifted with. It was magnificent. And they kept asking, are you happy to be alive? Are you happy to be alive and happy to be here tonight? And that's the fucking point of music, man. I love that. That's so wholesome. Me and my father on my 33rd birthday, just watching this guy scream that fucking Stratocaster, dude. It was so good. So good. Everyone knows the song Heaven. That was real big in probably 2004. And I guess it launched their career. So God bless you, Los Lonely Boys. You guys are fucking awesome. Way different types of people than the raging pirate that I seem to be online. But that's okay, because I was taking notes, man. Mind-blowing fucking performance. You could tell they just loved it and just felt joyous to be there. Asking me, am I happy to be alive? That's a hard question. That's a hard question. How far did this great demoralization campaign against America and Americans go? Fascinating questions that we have to, like Yuri Bezmenov says, it's not peacetime. We don't live in peacetime. There's a if nothing the fuck else, there's a spiritual war going on. And it wants the souls and hearts of man, dude. Tupac talked about that shit, didn't he? This is the state of man. This is the state of nature. In many ways, the human condition. Are you happy to be alive? If I'm not, I better get to work. There's things to be done. Maybe it's more time praying. Maybe it's more time freedom to or freedom from. Maybe I need to remove some things and take some things that are stopping me, that are impediments in my happiness of being alive and my joyousness of this gift of life. Maybe there's things I need to add to it to increase my life. Very interesting. So this is what I study, and this is what I think about, and this is why I kind of have this fucking show too, this new project of mine, because it's hard. I go to work every day and I work hard, and I'm pretty responsible at my job, but it's not fulfilling. It's not meaningful in the same way. I'm running a restaurant, and I have to really pull from my reserves to get over the mundane and to get over the bullshit, the trivial, nonsensical things, the frustrations of the job, the day-to-day, just, oh my God, this again. Fuck. I really have to fight that. In my view, there's going to be a point in life where that tension breaks and I ascend one way or the other, you know? And I'm very grateful for a lot of it too. I sound ungrateful a lot because I'm just like wrapped up in it. But that's just stress and that's just aggression. And I don't know. It's something I'm always trying to reconcile. But this, I mean, I need, it's just like my music, man. It's my music is my hero's, what I conceive to be my hero's story, my redemption arc, the narrative of my life as told through heavy blues metal. You know, this is an extension of that. This is a creative endeavor at its best. So it's very intimate in many ways. So that's how this goes, man. So that was awesome. And then I found a quote. I don't know if this is a real quote or not, but I assume it is. It's a quote from James Hetfield from Metallica, who's probably saved many, many, many lives without realizing it through his gift of music. James Hetfield says, I put my pain into wherever. Let me restart this to honor the quote. He says, I put my pain into riffs, my fears into lyrics, and my soul into the mic. Every scar has a sound, and Metallica is the echo of our survival. From Mr. James Hetfield. So that's important. So what do? Starts with you. This is what they teach you in AA as I celebrate 2 years off the sauce. You know, one day at a time. One day at a time. You go from step 1, admitting things to yourself. And from step 1 to step 12, you begin the process, the lifelong, never-ending, perpetual, to use the song by Death. From between step 1 and step 12, you enter the perennial quest to remedy your life. And the 12th step is having undergone a spiritual awakening. We gift this now to the world. We gift it to the next man. Each one teach one, as the saying goes. You know? So for my part right now, fucking A. Happy 4th of July. I like to wake up. I like to take a nice long walk. I like to read some good shit. I like to talk to the people. Thank you guys for being here. If you made it this far, you sure as shit are my people. I appreciate you. I like to go lift some weights and then go about my daily business. And that's my lot in life right now. 57 minutes in. I think I can wrap this shit up. Is there anything I missed in my notes? No, sir. No, sir. I'll requote Mr. Patrick Henry one more time, just to end with emphasis. He says, I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. Yeah, buddy. Fucking A right. Thank you guys for hanging out. Happy 4th of July. This has been a fine, today Friday? A fine Friday edition of the BS with B. Hannas show. That's me, Nikki B. Hannas. You can find this on YouTube. I do it live on YouTube. My hardware compliance notwithstanding. You can find this on YouTube. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcast, Amazon Audible, so on and so forth. You can find my music at nickybhannas.com. I affectionately refer to my music as heavy blues metal. nickybhannas.com, nickybhannas.bandcamp.com, Nicky B. Hannas on all streaming services. Fucking A. Peace out. One love. Let's get back to this crawling out of hell. Thank you very much. Later. Crawling out of hell. Just a man's got my story to tell.